I'm a stationery designer, and what I really do is take something invisible, a feeling, a sign, a story about two people, and make it something you can hold in your hands. Today, I'm taking you through every single step from the very first word I write on paper all the way to the finished animated monogram. Nothing skipped, nothing fast forwarded, that doesn't need to be. This couple, one is an Aries, one is a Scorpio, fire and water, the Ram and the Scorpion. Most people would say they are opposites. Most people would be wrong. They wanted their zodiac signs inside the monogram, not as decoration, but as the design itself. Not a logo, a portrait. Something that looks like them. Before I draw a single shape, I write. Every element that needs to be in this design gets put into words first. If I can't write it, I can't draw it. These words are my map. Every time I look down at the paper during the sketch, I'm not guessing what to draw next. I'm reading from this list. Nothing gets forgotten, nothing gets added by accident. I always draw the sun first. It's the anchor of the whole sky. Everything else position itself in relation to where the sun sits. This isn't just a sun with lines around it. It's drawn like a sunflower, rays that have weight, that have personality, some longer, some shorter, because the sun in nature is never perfectly even. The face on the sun, that detail comes from old illustrated maps, old celestial charts. Hundreds of years ago, cartographers drew the sun with the face because they believed the sky was alive. I believe that too. So the sun watches over this couple. The letters M and A, they have to feel like they belong to each other, not like two separate things placed side by side. So they share space, they lean into each other slightly. I draw them thick, almost sculptural, because when you shrink this down to a tag, fine lines disappear, but weight stays, volume stays. The letters have to feel substantial even at small screen. Waves, because this is a destination wedding by the ocean. And because water is the Scorpio element, it belongs in this design the same way the ram belongs on land. Waves in illustration are never copied from a photo, they are felt. You draw the rhythm of water, not the shape of it. Close your eyes, feel the motion, then draw. The Aries ram. He goes on the left because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. The horns took me longest. They have to spiral naturally. If they curl too tight, they look like a shell. Too loose and they lose the Aries identity. I drew this 4 times on a scrap paper before I was happy with the curve. The scorpion is the hardest element to draw. Not because it's complex, but because it has to feel alive, not threatening. Scorpio energy is depth, mystery, intensity, not danger. The scorpion in this design is not a warning, it's a portrait. The tail has to arc right, too upright and it looks aggressive, too flat and it loses the scorpion silhouette. There's one specific curve somewhere between grace and strength that makes it read as Scorpio immediately. Palm trees. They go in now, not first because they are the background. They frame everything that's already been placed. Each trunk is slightly different, leaning at slightly different angles because palms don't grow straight. The fronds are the fastest part of the whole sketch. They have to be. Overthought palm fronds look stiff. They should feel like they are moving, like there's a breeze. And now the border. This is the last thing I sketch because the border has to fit around everything else, not the other way around. It closes the world in. The scalloped border, it comes from shells, from the edge of a clam shell, a scallop shell held up to the light. It feels old, it feels precious. It's the thing that makes this feel like a seal, like something pressed in wax, something official, something that says this love story is real and it's been witnessed. Before I touch the sketch with color, I decide. Every color gets swatched on a separate piece of paper and placed beside the others. I need to see the full palette together before anything gets committed to the design. I remove any color that doesn't feel right when placed next to the others. Color is a conversation. Each one has to agree with its neighbors. If one color is arguing, it goes. Now I paint the sketch, not digitally by hand, with brush pens. This is not the final artwork, this is the color test. I'm painting to answer one question: where does each color live? I paint loosely here, not precisely. The goal isn't a finished piece, it's a color map, a quick language I can refer to when I sit down at the screen. Each color goes in one section at a time. I don't blend between areas until I have placed everything. I need to see the full palette working in the composition before I make any adjustments. Photographing the sketch is not just taking a picture, the photo is what carries the sketch into the digital world. And whatever is in that photo, I will be working over for the next few hours. It has to be clear, evenly lit, true to color. And now I take three photos at slightly different exposures, one slightly darker, one at normal, and one at slightly lighter. Then I choose the one where the pencil lines are clearest and the colors are most accurate. The photo comes into the software, and the first thing I do before I drew a single digital line is lower its opacity. A new layer above the sketch. This is where the actual monogram is born. I'm not tracing, I'm redrawing. Every line is redrawn with digital precision but over the rhythm and feeling of the hand sketch underneath. The scalloped border, I drew each bump individually in digital too. Even though I could use a repeat tool, I don't. Because each one drawn by hand has a very slight variation, and that variation is what makes it feel like something pressed from nature, not generated by software. Then the animals, the ram first, left side, then the scorpion. Every segment, every leg, every part of the tail, I give them more detail digitally than I could in pencil because digital lets me zoom in without losing quality. The color goes in fast because I already made these decisions with the brush pens. I'm not choosing as I paint, I'm executing a plan. This is why the brush pen step saves so much time. The animals need shadow to feel real. A flat feel reads as a sticker. Shadow makes them feel like they exist in light, like the sun, their sun is actually shining on them. Curate. The design is done. Now it has to become something real, something with weight, something with texture. The paper for these tags, it's handmade. You can see the fibers in it when you hold it to the light. That visible texture is not a flaw, it's the reason. First print, I always check color before I print the full run. The teal on screen and the teal on paper are never exactly the same. Paper absorbs ink differently depending on its texture, so I calibrate until they match. And now the animation. This is the moment I love most because this is where the design stops being a file and starts being alive. Every element took hours to sketch, paint, and build appears in a few seconds, but because you have seen the whole journey, those few seconds carry everything. You know what's inside each line. A few things I want to leave with you. Whether you are a couple planning a wedding, or a designer who works with stationery, or someone who just loves seeing how things are made. First, write before you draw. Second is sketch each element in order, sky to ground. Third is the brush pen. Step is not optional. Fourth is 40% opacity is the rule. Fifth is let this animation be the last thing. If this process slow, considered, made with your hands first and your screen second, if that speaks to you, you are in the right place. Subscribe to see more stories turned into art. Thank you.